Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well. It is August 2nd, 2025, and I have some messages for you. Somebody said, joined the Marine Corps. And another one asked, are they sold? Or something like that. These guys are talking about tattoos. They want this new representative to be disqualified badly. They're accusing her of having venom in her because she's tired of them pushing in on her energy and space. She doesn't like it. She doesn't want it. She's sick of it. And yet they continue accosting her essence, demanding that she accept it without complaint. She is losing patience with their disrespect, and they're accusing her of not being natural or organic because she seems to have a need for a pharmaceutical medication. She could be older. Her physical vessel may have received more toxins than it should. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Maybe there's a thyroid thing, high blood pressure. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. They once more are talking about suicide. The other day, I had a vision of a masculine at a morgue looking at the teeth of a cadaver. So it seems to me they want to create the illusion of an suicide, replace it with a cadaver so that they can KID nap the original. It's all your fault, someone said. And the masculine started talking about Epstein. They're talking about personal power. They cannot stand that this woman has energy and has been elected or chosen as a representative. They're tired or they're very distraught over this personal power, this authority as a representative, as a chosen one. They're very upset that she has the ability to speak. These are women haters. They don't like them at all. Someone was talking very rudely to another person saying, you take da-da-da-da-da-da. And it sounded like a conversation of someone who has been adjusting the life path of another or others regarding their purpose, their experience, and their output in this realm. So they've been taking their life path and then skewing it, adjusting it, forcing it. You know, on one of those cards, the round ones, there's a funnel on it. And you, in the top, like you pour the stuff into the top of the funnel where there's a big opening, and then it's squeezed and squished into a very small hole. So it's like they've been taking these great big energetic beings and they've been forcing them into very low vibrational, very poor families, narcissistic, abusive families who had troubles with addictions and with the law and such. So they've been taking people who have grand purpose here, and they've been funneling them down into the lowest vibrational experience and people that they could, birthing them into these spaces. So they hide their shady practices behind wrath, individual wrath. So they funnel these very big energies into these very small, narcissistic, abusive, addicted families and circumstances. And then they kind of get mad. They get angry at the abuse and the fact that they can't do anything about it. So they hide their shady practices behind this injustice. They could also be hiding their shady practices behind, war, anything with their, these ones love war. It's a war on terror, a war on drugs, a war on whatever. It's always a war. And so individual wrath, you know, there's always some kind of war that they're hiding their shady practices behind. They usually have a method of laying that blame onto whoever they're hiding behind. And then they deceitfully condemn them. These ones wait for their target in the 3D vessel to go to sleep. And then they go in and start jacking their life around in the spirit. So you go to bed thinking you're just going to get some rest, and you're resting up for your next day of work. But while you're sleeping, and you swear you don't dream, there's somebody agent smithing your sleeper spirit, your sleeping spirit. And then they're going around doing wrathful things, like destroying people's property, like and red ramming their pets, you know, doing whatever kind of crimes as you, as your sleeper self, as your spirit self, because your 3D vessel goes to sleep. You swear you're not having any dreams, but you got these shape-shifting people that have these gifts, and they're very, they've sold themselves to a lower vibrational thing, and they've been doing this to frame people, good people, by agent smithing their sleeping spirit. They have disconnected the 3D vessel of people from their dream self, so that, you know, and their dream life, so that they don't remember their dreams, and they don't have any idea what's happening to them for these 8 hours or so while they are unconscious, right? So they've been setting people up, committing wrathful deeds while they're asleep. They're complaining about a woman who is an energizer, a star, a revitalizer, somebody who has great big energy. They talked about it the other day as Gnostic energy. This is very old, very ancient. They want to get her out of her position. She's been elected as a representative. She's been chosen. She's got apparently personal power. It's not just energy. Apparently she's got some kind of an authority, and there are rules or changes being made to whatever rules everybody had been yoked with. They want to separate her from her protection, to get her out of there, because they feel that they can overtake this situation, regain control and command of this circumstance, of this vital life force of the human being, and continue selling it and doing their business as normal, if they can create a division between she and her protection. They're talking about enforce, or something being enforced, or enforcing something. It's like there's a change to the requirements. There's a change to something, and it's being enforced. And these ones are growing desperate. Apparently it has something to do with this feminine who is a representative, a chosen one. It's so dark, someone said. So there is somebody who is separated from the light of the luminaries. I had a vision in the astral realms where I was in a very, very dark place. It looked like there was a very dim lighting. This was an extremely dark place. And I'm wandering around, and there wasn't anybody there. It was just very dark. And then I woke up and I heard the song lyrics. You brighten up even the darkest night. So I really feel that some of these light beings, these chosen ones or whatever, they're going through a test. Like maybe they go into these very dark spaces without even the remotest possibility of light. And, you know, they kind of walk around and see what happens. And so there's that. History. They're looking at this representative's history. They're talking about gluttony. These ones said there is a weight limit. So, you know, you have to be fit. You have to conform to the rules. You can't be a sinner. You can't be a glutton. You can't be this or that. So they're saying that there's a weight limit, and they're doing gluttony spells, midnight snacking spells, on ice cream and cookies, you know, trying to sabotage her position and her acceptance. So they want to get her disqualified from this position. So if you've been having the munchies and you've been gaining weight, you may this may be your message. Take it as it resonates. You may not even know who you are in the spiritual realm, especially if you're not remembering your dreams. They're trying to get this woman caught up in the 7 deadly sins. They want her convicted and rejected. Their magic is being done on her physical vessel and also on her mind. They want her to remember all of the reasons why she's unlovable, unchoosable, you know, why she's alone and has always been alone, why nobody ever picked her for the team. I mean, they want this kind of stuff running through her system while she's, you know, satisfying this sorrow with midnight snacking on cookies and such. They're talking about compensate and how there is no compensation for what they've done. So they're trying to compensate for the history of their brutality regarding humanity, the energy of life, and what the brutality and the cruelty of what they have done. Something is being enforced. They're trying to compensate. They cannot compensate. There's nothing that they can do to make up for this and still have presence here. They're trying to buy their way out of trouble. They want to bribe this representative or a decision maker. Could be a judge. Some kind of a law enforcement. They've broken serious universal laws. Moral and physical boundaries have been crossed. Somebody said flip and copycat her. So they're trying desperately to flip her into the south node, suffering, pain, and anger. And this is what I meant. You may have thoughts going through your mind to remind you of why nobody ever chose you, to remind you of how everybody betrayed you, to remind you that nobody maybe ever made you a wife, to remind you that nobody ever wanted to be, you know, a parent with you, or anything that brought you suffering and pain and loneliness, a lack of support, of friendship, and constant betrayal. They're running this energy and these memories, these hoping that they can snag onto a trigger of sorts and then have you run it through your mind, wrapping it up with your emotional energy. They want you to empower this so that they can flip you into that south node memory and then have some kind of copycat, karmic, low vibrational burden laid upon you. They want to get rid of you to perhaps fake an suicide and then stick a copycat in your place. This is what they do. It's their go-to. But it requires your contribution of imbalance. So this is a string of masculines that are connected in some sort of network, seemingly throughout the world. Some sort of an enterprise. Somebody was talking a while back about a multi-billion-dollar church that's not an actual church. It's a pedophile network and a human business of sorts, if you know what I mean. She's not taking bribes, and neither are the divine masculine who are here protecting her. It's like they're standing firm in the face of this very dark, dense energy that can trigger a fear-like response. They're standing firm against this. They're not caving. They're not accepting bribes. They're not going to take a secondary opportunity. They're being loyal. They are loyal and dedicated to this shift. They're not going to cater to the old chapter or that network because they know clearly what the result of that is. But these ones do need to eliminate this representative who's calling for change. They want to separate and eliminate, to break that bond, that bridge, that connection with Source Divine. They don't want these higher vibrational beings to be moving through this vessel and creating change here. You know, Most High God and that network that we earth angels and such are here in service to try to bring heaven to earth, right? They want her silenced. They want to break that connection. They want to destroy that bridge. They need to escape the justice that is upon them, the law of cause and effect. They've been using their telepathic gifts to spy on, to target, and eliminate people that are here, divinely connected to Source. They want to, so they've been claiming that intellectual property, like they've been taking them out in these rituals, and then claiming that identity, and then commanding the mind, the consciousness, while they shut down, flip, and copycat, right? So they have to somehow claim the mental body, but that requires them driving you into the dirt, into despair, so they can step in like the angel that you are, right? These dominator criminals want to control the field of awareness of natural, organically connected psychics. They've recently complained that you are too psychic. And these bad guys say that they can't hide their deeds. Whatever they're doing, it's like you're picking up on it. You know, whether you be an oracle, a tarot reader, some sort of psychic, you know, whatever it is, you know, if you have seer stones or crystal balls, however you get your messages, whether you communicate with the divine through the animals and those signs, numbers, take it as it resonates. I mean, there's all kinds of ways, but they say that you are too psychic, which means that you probably have multiple methods of communicating. They do not want this representative being an influence in this world. They do not want this representative sharing these influences at all. Waking people up to their own abilities. Removing the yoke, the binding, and the blockages upon them that prevent them from connecting to their soul song and receiving their own uniquely coded messages from divine. I mean, so, you know, they wanted to step into the middle with the cyberware and drive pre-scripted thoughts of chaos through the mind. You know, they like to run insanity through the minds of the transmitter receivers of the divine, because they know that you can pick up the messaging. And so they run it through like on rote, R-O-T-E. And they hope that if they run insanity through your mind enough times, that maybe you'll claim the idea that you are, right? And others most certainly would believe it if they could hear it. This representative who is being an influence at this time is seen as the real deal. And these ones have been playing a script. They've been proven as imposter hypocrites, and they're very angry. So they're pulling up the history of many cycles, many lifetimes of this representative. They want to know exactly who she is. And they're pulling up all of these life cycles where they have driven her into various very low vibrational experiences. They're accusing her of gluttony, of addictions, of all kinds of unsavory things. And the truth is, these ones were using cyberware and mental magic and transference of sin magic to bury her under a vile program of karmic debt energy. So they do this apparently to all unsuspecting people who have potential, who have destinies that are divine. And then they sit back and they watch and they laugh at how cleverly that all works out for them. You know, your first love turns out to be a very abusive person who after 3 years maybe nearly unalives you. I mean, it's this kind of stuff. Maybe that was the intention. And it could be that perhaps they did, you know. I mean, I have a circumstance in this particular life where at a very young age, I got with somebody and they turned out to be very, very abusive. And they, after a number of years, after a couple of years, they choked me until I passed out, you know. And I don't know if I died that night. I really don't. I know that when I woke up, he was bashing my head into the rocks of the riverbed because he thought that I had died and he was going to be in big trouble. But somehow I woke up and then he was all happy, you know, but whatever. So I don't know, I could have died. And the thing is about this, about the earth angels, it's like, you don't know how many times you may have actually died and God didn't make your life end. It's like you didn't. It's like you could be one of these immortal beings and not even know it. Car accidents that you maybe should have perished in, but you didn't. It's like, wow, I really should have bid it in that one, but you didn't. Well, who's to say you didn't? But God said no, you know, you got immortal life or whatever, you know. I don't know. There's some strange stuff happening right now. Anyhow, so these ones, they run this rhetoric through people's minds while agitating their energy, the waters of the body. And then they accuse these people deceitfully. They convict them of the program, convincing the populace of their insanity, of their unworthiness, of their addictive behaviors, how they're not able to manage themselves and take care of themselves and be a responsible human. And then they harvest the reward that they have driven them into these lower vibrational experiences, and the reward that they knew they had coming to them, but they wanted to prove to the divine that they were unworthy of. So they took their purpose and their divine path and they completely overrode it. Put you into a vile family as a black sheep. Destroyed your actual purpose. And then when it came time to collect the reward, you were either going to be perished or eliminated somehow so they could step in as you, copycat you, or they were just going to convince God or whoever that you were seriously incapacitated and irresponsible, and they were just going to receive your reward for being, you know, they tried to help you, but you survived, and it's very obvious that they didn't guide you properly at all. In fact, the truth is that they drove you into poverty, lack. They made it very easy for you to go south. So all of the suns and the stars that have been heavily targeted and driven and convicted from the shadows for their own behavior that they've projected onto others. Now they're sitting here saying, well, they're knowledgeable. So now they understand what's been happening to them, and others are speaking out. These ones need to handle them. And whatever divine connections they have, they are so angry They need to command the field of consciousness that you are, that you have, that's connected to source. They need to step in as you. They need you to embrace malice, violence, vengeance, sorrow, guilt, gluttony, any of the 7 sins, deadly sins, and others. They need you to go damn south node. Stop it. Stop being healthy. Stop looking out for yourself. Go do something nasty. This representative, so a short time ago, they told this representative, or they were speaking about this representative, how they would not last a year, not 1 year. So we've just started this new cycle, and I heard these ones talking the other day that they were going to be here for the next 2 years. So they have plans for sabotaging this person. And they have allotted themselves 2 years, and they feel that they can get the job done in less than one. So it appears as though, they need to be identified because they are a domestic terrorist threat. It's very disheartening telling you about these masculines that are talking about this woman as though they wish to destroy her. It really doesn't do my nervous system any good, but I gotta get the story out there because, I'm alive for a reason. They want to capture this woman. They want to copycat her. So they want to stage an suicide. They're looking for a cadaver. They want to obtain the original, and then they want to put in a copycat of her. They want to replace her with a fraud so they can still maintain the status, the authority, the land, the business, the finances, and the claim the role, so that they can once again lead the people down a path of incoherence. Shut them down, shut them off, make them followers, not leaders. They want them confused and ignorant. So they want to hurt this woman because she's opening doors of possibility. It's like the captives are being set free. She's connected to Source Divine. She's delivering the events that have been happening. First-hand testimonies are seen, heard, known. The people. They want to exact revenge for this exposure and for their loss. They feel as though she is making a fool out of them. It's quite clear they are hypocrites and frauds who brutalize everything, yet accuse people of the 7 deadly sins they drive them into. They drive this stuff into the minds of people with cyberware technology and other subliminal technology and other magical means, in order to gain a deceitful conviction and claim over their spiritual inheritance and energy. They drive people into crimes and addiction and then claim that they aren't capable of managing themselves. They hijack their marriages, their unions, their jobs, their stability, their finances, their friends groups. And they've been getting away with this cruelty and fraud and theft for so long, for centuries. This is a centuries-old story. They bragged and they hate the exposure that this woman is bringing to them. She survived the impossible life path. They hate her authenticity, her honesty, and her transparency. She's not perfect and she knows it, but she displays herself honestly, openly. She doesn't try to trick anybody, fool anybody. She knows the Most High God is watching. That would be silly. And they hate it because it makes it so apparent that they are not what she authentically is, divinely connected to Source. They are cruel and accusatory. And they certainly aren't uplifting and loving men of God. They have a nice presentation, but it's false. They want to destroy this woman and those who chose her, elected her as representative. And it's very apparent. They turned this place into a war zone, and they want it to stay that way. It appears that this curator tried to tell her that he was sorry for this and that. He was sorry for sabotaging her. He was sorry for blah, 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 blah. And she said, your apology isn't accepted. This curator has been selling the life force vitality of the human race on and off planet to other species, using humans as slaves. He's been altering their life path to a path of suffering and difficulty, of abuse and addiction. He's been prematurely transitioning them before they can climb out of it or even recognize that something's been driving them. He's been selling them in so many types of slavery for their next life, their next experience. For centuries, denying them their purpose and an opportunity to walk in their own discipline. Cruelty and betrayal doesn't even come close to describing this practice. And so no, apparently she has not accepted his apology. He cannot compensate for this. And he certainly isn't going to brush it under the carpet with an apology and a forgiveness and continue to do it. It's just not. So they hate this woman. They hate her because the divine is in agreement. He's a liar behind that sweet voice of innocence. He's a scam artist, a trickster thief, and she knows it. And so does the Most High God. The illusions are broken. The storyline no longer sticks. The other day, I got the message that the Hierophant is increasing happiness and stability in order to bring harmony to the environment. And so this messes things up for them in so many ways. They can't drive the minds of marriages and of people anymore. So he's trying to manipulate this woman. They're trying to pin the 7 deadly sins on her. They're doing magic. They want to stay in her energy and to keep access to this energy. They want to continue to have permission to be connected in any way. But because she doesn't want to deal with him or the business that he's been operating in, he and his advisors accuse her of being full of venom. And they're trying to stick this evidence of the 7 deadly sins onto her. So they're trying to tell the courts or whoever the hierarchy is that she's got venom and she's got these 7 deadly sins and she's unworthy of having this role or this land or this business or this influence. They desperately want to get rid of her to destroy this bridge to the divine. This person may even be an archangel, like a bridge, an archangel. This is what it sounds like to me. They're desperate to break the bridge, to destroy the connection. But they need to convince the people that she's unfit. So they gotta get this stuff to stick. And I don't think they're having any luck shifting her into South Node because apparently she's an alchemist, a very good one. So the accusers and the hypocrites are studying intensely, trying to gain momentum on the accusations of these 7 deadly sins. There's a masculine calling somebody an atheist. And they could be talking about this woman. She's connected to the Most High God. And they got all these other masculines that are attacking her, trying to destroy her. And it sounds like somebody's like, you don't believe in God. You're just, So this is, it's definitely a clashing here. These masculines keep projecting onto this feminine. And it's like they really believe that the Most High God is gonna look at them stunned and say, whoa, brother, you are right. Let's punish her. It's like they think that if they can continue doing this manipulation and this attacking, this trying to sticking, trying to manipulate, trying to flip, if they can continue messing with her like this, that God's going to somehow eventually agree with them. They really want to replace all of the divine mothers, these aspects of the divine feminine, who are source connected here, having an influence in the world right now. They're really angry. So then I kind of channeled something here, and I don't know if it's personal or what, but I'm going to read it because I don't know. Okay, so just take it as it resonates. I don't know. I know that I'm not 25 and that my belly isn't flat. I know that I'm a lot further away from the original healthy habitat. I know that all of the foods I eat are poison and toxic to my system. And I know that these masculines out there have made it very clear that they're not attracted. And here I am, having gone through hell and fortified my soul and spirit within. And yet still I listen to these men, invisible, talk about their sin as they project it onto the women. Here I am, listening, still flabbergasted that anybody out there at all listens and gives them any credit or blessing or legitimacy at all. What do they think makes them so special that they're out there so full of hate? Projecting the need to punish the mother, the gate. Okay, so they came through this gate for life, for this blessing. They can look upon me with disdain if they wish, and I offer them a solution. May they go away and forget that I exist. May they stop this obsession. May they go to a realm where everything they love, this violence, this war, this bloodshedding, may they enjoy it as they look at each other and remind themselves that this was their creation. May they move far away from me and others who obviously annoy and agitate them. There's no reason for them to stay and be so agitated every day, exerting that and expressing that into the collective. So that was the end of that channeling. Take it as it resonates. They're talking about a jaguar, one of them big black cats. She has the strength, one of these masculines said. Do you want one? Someone asked. And then there's something about the flames of blasphemy. The flames of blasphemy. And how people are using the temple and they're doing things and responding, and there's an angel or a guardian angel. So they're doing things They're using the temple and they're doing things. And this reminds me of those Agent Smiths of the spirit self while you're sleeping. So they're using the temple and they're doing things and responding. So they're going into or Agent Smithing the temple as you sleep. But apparently there's an angel or a guardian angel watching. Witness. You have a witness and a protector. I've been holding this phone for so long, I'm starting to shake. I'm sorry. Okay. So there's something about the flames of blasphemy. Now, blasphemy is a great disrespect shown to God or to something holy. For example, vandalizing places of worship, burning sacred books like the Bible, worshiping Satan, creating any form of art or public display that disrespects God. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit has to do with accusations of Jesus Christ being demon-possessed instead of spirit-filled. This is really strange. Now, I've heard of these ones in the past, talking about exorcisms and actually trying to do exorcisms. They really put forth quite a bit of an effort for that a while back. It's silly. They have a misperception. One of these masculines said, "Our Congress, ... And another one said, "Knock them out." As though they're thinking of knocking somebody out of position. They don't have what they need in order to dominate. So apparently they have a vote. They have something they need to get passed. Congress isn't functioning properly according to their needs. The game is changing for them, for everyone. I heard someone say, "I thought you were never coming back." Take it as it resonates. Masculines here on the outer edge. It's like, I had a vision one time that I was in like a motorhome and I was sweeping the floors and the door was open and there was like a group of masculines standing outside of the motorhome and they were talking and jeering and leering and all of that, but they could not enter. And it's kind of like this is what I'm hearing here. Those men standing outside of the house having conversation. They're not invited in and they can't really do anything, but they won't go occupy themselves with something else. So they're out there and they're talking about positive changes. And it sounded like the curator having a meeting with another group, a different group of masculines. These ones were talking about being satisfied, which was like they had like they took a woman into a ship and did a thing. They hypnotized her and then abused her, and then they were satisfied. These are the Jinn, the smokeless fire beings. So this is one of the groups there. They do have a nickname for themselves. I'll leave that up to your discernment, or we'll just get into it at some other point. I really didn't have that as part of this messaging, but there you go. So it seems that they can no longer control or command the health of the union of couples and their mental bodies, or that of single people anymore. I got to get some kind of support for my hand, man. I didn't realize this was going to be such a long video. Someone or something is very versatile and it's very handy. Someone's being told they are inhuman, which is lacking human qualities of compassion and mercy. They are cruel and barbaric. They're not human in nature or character. So, I was thinking this. These people, they don't act as though they're human, and they've been in the slave trade of humanity for some time. They could be hybrids. They got those breeding programs and such. Or they could be in a different species entirely, shapeshifter maybe, masquerading as human. Take it as it resonates. Someone was sending a message through song. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And then somebody said, I'll take it. Come on. There. Oh. Toby. He needed to get up. He's short. And then I heard somebody say, I'll take it. So it's like somebody may be buying a new body, a new identity, or he could have been offered a deal of sorts, a plea deal maybe. He wants to change his ways. He doesn't want to be involved in this anymore. He wants to go a new path. So it could very well be that he said, I'll take it. It could very well be that he got a deal of some sort. Someone's talking about a real one and a missed opportunity. They were vibing on root and sacral chakra responses. Looks, money, flash. They could not see the value in a so-called peasant. A magnificent being hidden in plain sight. There's something about a neuralizer. They're talking about a neuralizer, which is a device used to erase the memories of those who have sensitive information. I really feel that this has been being used on people. Many of you don't know who you are. You're centuries old. You've been going every single lifetime, many, many, many lifetimes. They have been snatching you up and putting you through this loop of low vibrational suffering, trying to break your connection to Source Divine and keep you trapped here. So it's like they've been erasing people's memories after death, like zapping them. It could be that they want to use this neuralizer on this representative. They want to make her forget about her position, about being chosen, about the relationships and the connections that she has. They want to make her forget and disconnect this bridge that she has with Source Divine. They got to get rid of this connection. Source Divine, the upper dimensional realms can see perfectly clearly what they are doing, and things are a mess. They think if they can eliminate this representative, that they can command the circumstance. The other day, one of these masculines were talking about, when I go to feed their strip clubs and such. And just now he said he went there and made her an offer of an opportunity, and she told him that she would do anything to get out of there. So he's got a feminine who is willing to do anything to get out of there, and they've been talking about flipping this representative and then replacing her with what do they call it? Catfish or whatever they are. Copycat. These masculines are talking about Google as though they are looking into someone's search history. They're trying to dig up dirt. They want to find something that they can convict this woman on. There is talk going on about Atlantis, which is a legendary island nation from Greek mythology. In the recent past, they've discussed the father of Titans, Uranus. I believe Uranus is here, giving us some trouble. This is an ancient story. It's been going on for centuries. The Titans were the children of Gaia, Mother Earth, and her husband, Uranus, god of the sky. These masculines stated some time ago that this representative they want so desperately to condemn and dethrone was a myth, not supposed to exist. They thought that they had exterminated them all. This representative could actually be the spirit of Mother Earth, Gaia. It could be a daughter of Uranus and Gaia. I've heard her be called the goddess of time. Apparently when she was attacked in the astral, she stopped the attack with flowers somehow. She could be the goddess of springtime. They thought that they had exterminated them all. Divine Mother, in one of her aspects, stated a year or so ago that the Greeks are having a change of heart, or a seeing things from a new perspective, or something like that. So this is a centuries-old story. This woman representative causing these tyrants such a problem is from long, long ago. It appears as though this bridge has been reconnected, and that the family of them here now kicking these ones to the curb, the ancient ones. So yeah, she could be the goddess of springtime. She could be Persephone. You know, the story about Persephone is when she was dragged to the underworld by Hades. I mean, they could have sacrificed her long, long ago. This could be some weird, jacked up kind of agreement thing that they made so many centuries ago. This could be Mnemosyne, goddess of memory, because these masculines are talking about the nebulizer, and they could have attacked the goddess of memory for centuries. So apparently Kronos, the Greek god of time, overthrew his father Uranus and betrayed the goddesses of time, the seasons. Apparently the mother Gaia led him in to do this. And I don't know if it was an intentional betrayal, if it was a manipulation, if it was something had to have happened there. And then there was this whole betrayal thing, and there was like this war between these gigantic beings who had been separated, and I'm sure it was all through deceit. Themis, the elder titan, goddess of the natural order, divine law, and tradition, traditional values. She was also a goddess of the oracles of Dodona and Delphi. These masculines have been taking revenge on these powerful goddesses for centuries. Divine law and tradition. They did not like this person's perspective of reality. They did not like traditional values and divine law. They wanted to be lustful little wretches, swinging their swing all over everything. Pretty boys, erecting obelisks all over the world to worship this thing that they use as a weapon. There are rocks, mountaintops, that when covered in snow are clearly the body of a woman lying prone. These masculines have mentioned particle events, nuclear fission. Turning people to stone may not have been a Medusa story after all. These invaders were permitted presence, a collaboration. And then they convinced some to flip, to turn, some to take on an opportunity apart from divine law and tradition. So they betrayed these goddesses and any of the gods that supported them. a severe betrayal. So apparently this story that I've been picking up on has its origins in Atlantis, Greece. And they were Titans at one time who perhaps had gone through some sort of a particle event or some form of nuclear fission occurrence. It could have been the Olympians, maybe some other foreign Titan type presence who maybe dropped some nuclear fission bombs, I don't know, on the people to claim this home, their home. And that was the message. They claimed their home and then turned it into a battlefield. Wow. So this was almost an hour long. I hope that you could sit through that one. That's the message I have for you. And I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.